Osiyo. That's the way you say hello in the Cherokee language. But why did I talk to you in the Cherokee language? I'm Bill Blair, and for the past about 3 years now, my wife, Jean, and I, along with my sister and her husband, Becky and Jim Payne, have done some extensive research into a branch of the family that until 3 years ago we didn't even know existed. In 2018, I got a message through Ancestry.com from a young lady in Oklahoma named Cheryl Rieger, and here's what Cheryl wrote to me. I hope this finds you well. My name is Cheryl, and my family has been in Oklahoma since the removal. I'm a direct descendant of James Blair and a Cherokee woman named Sarah. I'm curious if your family recognizes that he had 4 children with her. I do realize what a scandal that would have been at that particular time, and I could include more, but I've always been interested to know how history played out with his white family on this particular subject. I would enjoy any correspondence. Thank you, Cheryl. Well, there's your answer. I had no idea that I or anyone in the Blair clan had any aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives of any kind in Oklahoma. But thanks to Cheryl and the DNA we share, I suddenly realized that I sure wanted to find out about them and find out everything I possibly could about any Cherokee relatives that we might have. First, I wanted to know why we have Cherokee relatives at all. And here's what I found out.
My fourth great-grandfather, James Hayes Blair, was born March the 6th, 1761, in Augusta County, Virginia. He married Mary Elizabeth Powell in 1782, and they had a son named Powell. Powell had a son named James Marion. James Marion had George Powell. George Powell had William Willis. William Willis had my father, Thomas Jefferson, and that's how I got here. Now, James Hayes wasn't famous enough to get into any of our history books, but he did do some interesting things. At age 17, he joined the Continental Army and became an express rider and Indian scout. At age 19, he was badly wounded, riding throughout the countryside, alerting patriots that the British forces were approaching and rallying them to gather at Kings Mountain, South Carolina. As a result, Continental forces routed the British there in 1780. A 7-stanza poem, in fact, was written about Jimmy Blair's ride, called The Ride of the Rebel. After the war, James was appointed an agent to the Cherokee Indians for the state of Georgia. In preparation for the Treaty of 1818, he surveyed the Blair Line, which separated Cherokee lands from the state of Georgia. Little did they know that the Blair Line would be useless because the state was already planning to steal all of the Cherokee lands for the expansion of the white population. In the Indian Wars and the War of 1812, James Hayes earned the rank of colonel, and as an Indian agent, the governor of Georgia charged him with convincing the Cherokee to relocate from their ancestral lands in the southeast so that the state and white settlers pouring into Georgia because of the discovery of gold could have those lands for themselves. The colonel had no success at this effort. The Cherokee refused to leave, but no matter, in a few years, the state and the U.S. government under Andrew Jackson would take the land anyway. In 1788, when James Hayes was 27 years old, his second son, George, was born. But George was a brother from another mother. George's mother was Sarah Salee, a 14-year-old Cherokee girl. Salee lived in the Cherokee Nation in western North Carolina around Murphy. She's believed to have been one of several daughters of the great Cherokee chief Yonaguska. If you've seen the pageant in Cherokee called Unto These Hills, you'll remember who this great chief was. The colonel's son, George, had a Cherokee name also, which was Udiquanosi. In 1790, his Cherokee daughter Jenny was born, along with a white daughter, Mahala. Another Cherokee daughter, Margaret Peggy, came along in 1798, the same year as his white daughter Jane was born. And finally, his third Cherokee daughter, Sarah Lucy, was born in 1801.
Okay, so there you have it. Now you know why we Blairs have relatives in the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma. You know, I don't really know what happened to the colonel in his later life. I've heard stories that he founded Blairsville, Georgia, and that the town was named after him. I've heard that he was a legislator for 25 years from Habersham County. I've heard that he packed up and moved to Alabama with Mary Powell, his wife, and died there 5 days after she did in 1839. None of that I've proven to be true. Next time we're going to take a look at some early Cherokee life and culture, and more about our Cherokee cousins and what led to their removal to Oklahoma along the infamous Trail of Tears. You know, there's no word in Cherokee language for goodbye. The Cherokee people just say, "Let us meet again." Donadago wahi, wado.